talk and one of the center points of discussion here recently has been Geno's proclivity for throwing interceptions in the red zone. He's got 4 of them on the season. That leads the NFL. It's been a very poor part of his game, one we've been looking for him to rectify, yet we keep having to come back to this over and over and over again throughout the course of this season. He's only thrown 4 when the final totals are that, but it feels like 12. And you go, boy, okay, is this a bit of an inherent issue in his game as a center point of his game? Is this something to where he's got it like a flu-like symptoms of red zone interceptions and it's just always going to be something he has to carry with him for the rest of his life? I don't tend to think so. And I tend to think a lot of this comes down and from him trying to be more of a Superman in these moments and pressing a little bit too hard. Game like this where he feels like they've got to start scoring some points. The defense is struggling a little bit, does a little bit too much, quite frankly, in this game offensively and defensively. There were times where you had plays blow up because guys were doing too much. They weren't just sticking within the plan and trusting their teammates to get it done. And that was certainly, again, the case on that throw in this game. You've got, though, when you look at Geno here since 2021, he's actually been very safe inside the red zone. This stat here on my left shows us a little bit. 2021, he had 5 touchdowns to 1 interception. He had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception outside the red zone. Inside the red zone, he had 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. 2022, outside the red zone, he had 13 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Inside the red zone, 17 touchdowns, no interceptions. 2023, he had 4 touchdowns outside of the red zone, 7 interceptions. Inside the red zone, he had 16 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That brings us to this year. Outside the red zone, 6 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Inside, 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So he's definitely not had this penchant in the past in falling into this, which would lead me to believe that it is a correctable issue and situation. And if it hasn't been fully addressed with him by the coaching staff at this point, God, I hope they have now. Please do now. But it doesn't seem to be some part of his game that's broken at the core that just can't be fixed or overcome, or that this is what we've been facing for now the past 3 years prior to this. This is an issue that has just propped up this year. For me, when you pull on the thread and backtrack it, it seems like you can really go back to it being more of him trying to do too much in what is a really tough situation for the quarterback position, and he's not making the best choice. It's not me forgiving him or overlooking it or saying that this isn't something to consider carrying forward, but you always want to look at this stuff beyond just a sample size of a 1-year point if you've got multiple years to look at with a given player like Geno Smith. And I think that you could make the argument here that over the past 4 years, that right now this offensive line, and this is saying something, is in as bad a shape as we have seen at any point in time since Geno's taken over. And so that's only going to cause more chaos, more disarray, more poor quarterback decisions in that chaos, I think, be it whether it is Geno or a Sam Howell or anybody else. As I've said, whoever you put into this kind of environment is going to find that it's going to be very close to a catastrophe every single time. But I don't think that it is inherently a part of Geno's game inside of his soul that he just can't find a way through.